Welcome to Turning Hard Times Good Times. I'm your host, Jay Taylor. I'm really pleased to have with me for the first time Matt Roma. He's the CEO and a director of Golden Cross Resources. They have a very exciting story, in my view, located right next to one of the most remarkable new gold discoveries in Australia. That is known as the Sunday Creek project. That the company that owns that project has a market cap of about $1.5 billion compared to Golden Cross, which is around 20 million in Canadian money. So, and that doesn't mean anything in and of itself, but as you hear the story, I think it's going to become very important to you, primarily because Golden Cross's project is located right next to this monster that's being discovered. It's very exciting, and it has all the earmarks of the same geology, same kind of high-grade mineralization, old workings. It's just a remarkable story. My good friend Chen Lin told me about it a couple of weeks ago. And when I started looking at it, I said, wow, I've got to get this into my newsletter. And right now, this recording is available as of Saturday, June the 7th, only to paid subscribers. It will become available on my YouTube channel in about a week from that time. So I'm just suggesting, if you know anything about Sunday Creek, you're going to want to listen to what Matt has to say. Before I say hello to Matt, let me just tell you that the stock trades in Canada under the symbol AUX. You can buy it down here in the States, as I have, under ZCRMD. It's currently trading about 34 cents in Canadian money, 60 million shares outstanding, giving it a market cap of Canadian 20 million or so. Matt, thank you so much for joining me today.
Jay, it's a pleasure to be here, and I just want to thank you for your support and helping tell this story.
Well, from what I can see, Matt, it's pretty easy support. That's the way I see it at your current $20 million market cap. If you were $1.5 billion market cap, I might look at it a little differently. I most certainly would. Although your neighbor next door there, they still would seem to have considerable upside. They're continuing on. I think they just raised a huge amount of money, 160 million or so. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that project to give our viewers, our listeners, an idea of what might be in store. And we underscore the word might, because until the drills turn and it's confirmed geologically through your work, it's a might be so far, but it looks very, very good in terms of the potential or the probability. But talk to us a little bit about Sunday Creek and why that's such an exciting discovery.
Yeah, absolutely. So Southern Cross is a duly listed company both in Australia and Canada. And they probably have, the most exciting discovery in 2024. I think they've added about $1 billion of market cap in the last 12 months. They have identified the Sunday Creek project, which I believe their resource forecast right now is about 3.6 million ounces at 10.5 grams per ton. So just an absolutely fantastic deposit. And the geology that they're onto is consistent with the Costerfield mine, the Fosterville mine. It's the high grade epizonal gold systems. And from what we see, our project, the Reedy Creek project, resembles that of all of those projects mentioned. And yeah, we are very excited to be out there. We are a newly listed company that have been trading for about 5 weeks now.
Yeah, as I understand it, Matt, we're really looking at geology that's, from all that can be told so far, at least, very similar, if not identical, to that at Sunday Creek. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
So, we were talking a little bit before we started recording. I saw on, I think it was page 6 of the company's deck. It was really showing the trends. There were some mineralized trends, and you explained to me that those were really old workings. I mean, they were huge. Give me some sense of on the project that you're going to start working on. Give us some sense of the strike distance. They were striking, as I recall, northwest, southeast.
Yes,
What size of target are you looking at here?
So our project is 445 square kilometers,
Mhm.
and we're directly north and continuous to Southern Cross and to Sunday Creek. And really the important part of both our project and really the proxy for Southern Cross and why they drilled Sunday Creek were these old gold workings. So back in the late 1800s, this was an area where there would be mine shafts,
Mhm.
where the old timers would be digging out these high grade veins.
Mhm.
And what Southern Cross did is they had identified, I believe, six old gold workings on the Sunday Creek project. And what
Uh-huh.
they did is they drilled underneath them, and over that 1,400 meters, they put out a resource forecast of 3.6 million ounces at 10.6 grams per ton gold. So what we've done is we've identified through LiDAR old gold workings across our project. And if you look at our investor deck on our website on that, I believe it's page 6, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
What we've done is we've taken this ladder methodology that they've put out there, Southern Cross has put out there, and used the same proxy, and we basically identified 55 ladder targets across our project. With the highest concentration at Reedy Creek, which is also the closest area to Sunday Creek. It's about 10 kilometers north of it.
Mhm.
And that's where we have a fully funded, 6,000 meter drill campaign that kicked off at the end of May, that we'll be focusing on. And from the previous drilling done by the previous owners, we know there's gold there. There's the gold workings there. The old timers would have moved on if they didn't get into one of these veins. So we're really excited that these drills are turning, and yeah, lots of results to come.
Yeah, the old timers took the good stuff near surface, and didn't have the ability to probably to, well, they didn't have LiDAR, they didn't have a lot of technologies in the old
No.
days to see what you can currently see at depth and establishing targets. Well, you have so many of them then. How are you going to prioritize those targets? And really, we're talking here about Reedy Creek, but you have other projects too. I don't know to what extent you're looking at them now are going to be involved, because it seems to me at Reedy Creek itself, you have quite a bit to shoot at, but maybe you can give us an idea of how you prioritize your targets. Where do you start first? Because there's so many
Yeah,
different
no,
targets.
fantastic question, Jay. So essentially, we know based on previous drilling, that there's high grade vein structures at Reedy Creek,
Mhm.
and when these were assayed by the previous owners, this ladder methodology that Southern Cross has done such a fantastic job explaining and showcasing, this wasn't out there when Great Pacific Gold, the company that we acquired it from,
Oh,
had kind of organized their drilling and looked at their assays and how they reported their assays. But what's really important is in between these high grade veins, there's this low halo gold effect
oh,
at Sunday Creek. And with the low grade halo gold in between the high grade veins, by drilling at a more shallow but much deeper and intersecting multiple veins,
hmm,
you're able to report these very lengthy intercepts at fantastic grade.
yeah,
So that wasn't done by the previous owners. So
uh-huh,
they didn't understand this low halo gold effect and connecting these high grade veins. So we're currently doing a reassaying program on all of the holes that we can get our hands on, and essentially, that should be news flow coming out in mid-June at the latest.
good.
So the idea of that reassaying is being able to test this ladder methodology that Southern Cross has used and try to replicate that.
Mhm.
So in long story short, the focus is on Reedy Creek, where we know that the previous owners have gotten into these high grade veins, and it's to test the first three ladders with the first 2,000 meters. All 6,000 meters are going to be used at Reedy Creek. But as you mentioned, Jay, there is no shortage of targets on this project. And how we're target ranking these is we've also partnered with a company called Verify, and I'm not
Mhm.
sure how familiar you are with them, but they have this
Yes.
AI exploration tool,
Uh-huh.
and Southern Cross used them, and from our understanding with Verify, has been a huge value add for efficient drilling at Sunday Creek.
Mhm.
So we're using the same geological team that Southern Cross used to
Yeah.
target rank on our project. And previous drillings, a data point, LiDAR's a data point, surface work's a data point,
Mhm.
and with all of that, they will assist in target ranking with our VP of exploration and the rest of our technical team.
Right. Wow. That's so very powerful. I think you add AI to verify there.
Yeah.
I just thinking, Matt, with gold prices where they are now and even a lot lower, when you start looking at that halo effect between those high grade veins, it really becomes powerful. And
Oh, for
was
sure.
just looking at a project in Ontario today where they started looking at, earlier on, they did their modeling at 1,700 or $2,000 gold. And now all of a sudden it's a different mine. It's completely different because now
100%.
all these lower grades that are around the high grade veins can be mined in bulk. And it's just really exciting, I think. And what you're telling me sounds a lot like the same kind. Well, we'll find out as you do the
Yeah.
drilling and exploration. You mentioned, how did you pick up this property? Well, you must have gotten it after this discovery at Sunday Creek, no?
Yeah, it's a bit of a unique one. One of the founders of Great Pacific Gold is a gentleman by the name of Brian Slazarchuk.
Yeah.
Um, and my partners in this deal, Darren Devine and Daryl Carty, were co-founders of K92 with
Mm-hmm.
Brian Slazarchuk. And they actually worked out of the same building. And their core assets are in Papua New Guinea, which are fantastic assets. So these Australian assets were non-core for them, but they wanted to ensure a carry in this company. So the way we structured this deal is we basically paid them $1 million in cash and gave them 10% of the company
Mm-hmm.
of Golden Cross. We ended up actually crossing some of their stock off right on day one of trading at a premium to the financing, and now their ownership is about 7%. But they're big supporters of this. Wanted to see these assets get moved forward and wanted it done with a team that's been able to make discoveries in the past and transact in the space. And I think that's why they ultimately decided to sell to us.
Mm-hmm. So I think you mentioned 6,000 meters is what your current drill program is, and how well funded are you? Fully funded for
So
that
we're
right now?
fully funded. So our first rig started turning at the end of May, and we'll add a second rig in September, and that will take us to the end of this year. And we will look to do a financing later this year. We can drill here 12 months of the year.
Yeah.
Our all-in drill cost is about $230 a meter, so it's very efficient drilling. The 6,000 meters will take us right to the end of this year, and we'll look to fill the till and keep it going into 2026.
Yeah, it's I guess when we have summer here down there, it's your winter, but probably more has
A little more enjoyable. Yeah,
hospitable time to drill right now than it is in the middle of your hot summers because it gets hot as hell in that place,
yeah,
as I understand in the summer. Uh,
yeah.
yeah, it's a very, very exciting story. So just looking forward, Matt, this year, what sort of catalyst and how soon? You mentioned there may be some information from the historical work coming out as early as what, a couple of weeks from now, perhaps, huh?
Yeah, so I think by mid-June we should have the assays back on the reassaying program. And then basically from the drilling that's starting now, that'll start to flow out in August, and will take us right into Q1 of 2026. So there will be steady news flow on this for a while.
Well, good drill results in a hot market can really make stocks move, and this stock isn't getting much attention right now. But I would just mention, I'm just looking at, I think this is page 7 on your presentation, the corporate presentation, just to give our listeners a little idea of some of the grades. These are historical grades, I believe. 4 meters of 10 grams, 6 meters of 2.16. So some others, here's a meter at 19 grams. Yeah, 21 grams over a fractional meter. So 325 grams. Holy mackerel, 2 meters. Some more exciting grades, but these are historical drills, I guess, drill holes.
This is the previous owner's drilling that they did
Right.
late 2021, early 2022. So, we know there's high grade gold there. It's this typical, high grade quartz carbonate veins that they got into. And, using the drilling that was done by them, we've also done some structural mapping. We have all this LiDAR, and that's really driving the 6,000 meter drill program.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, no, fantastic grades. And if you can have this low grade halo gold effect, it really ties it all together.
Right. Well, here's another one, 7 meters, 48 grams, 48.31 grams. Wow. From 68 meters deep. So this is really an exciting story. Who are the major shareholders? I guess insiders have a good chunk at this stage, right?
Yeah, so the insiders and close partners of myself and the other directors own about
Uh-huh.
33% of the company. Great Pacific Gold owns 7%.
I see that,
It's
yeah.
10% institutionally held. And really, we went out to raise about $4 million. We had north of 10 million in demand. We capped it at 4.7 million. We were very selective on the money that we took.
Mm-hmm.
We really, want to see this move forward and finance in the future at accretive levels. And, we really brought in a great shareholder register to do that.
So the retail shareholders mostly could they be Australian?
There's definitely some high net worth Australian money there. Two of our
Uh-huh.
partners in the deal are Australian.
Uh-huh.
And it's really the who's who of junior resource investors in this deal.
Well, Matt, this is a really exciting story. I just wanted my subscribers to see your face and learn a little bit more about you. I think, visual um, appearance is very important. People get a sense of whether they trust you or not sometimes. My wife's better at it than I am, and sitting across from someone say, yeah, Jay, I don't know about that guy." So she'll certainly be viewing
Good.
this video as well. But she's on board. I'm pretty sure of that. But I really love it. And I thank my good friend Chen Lin for bringing it to my attention because I wouldn't have known otherwise. Matt, I wish you all the best, and yeah, all the best. And
Oh, I appreciate that, Jay.
we'll be keeping up with the story. That's for sure for my subscribers. And then in a week or so, we will release this on YouTube for a broader audience. So thank you very much.
Perfect.
All the best to
Appreciate
you
you
and
getting
your
the story
team.
out there.
You bet.
Awesome. Take
All
care,
the
Jay.
best. Take care.